love. Take a little break between the heats to spend a little time between the sheets. Back to the track and get on with the show. An 800 horsepower rodeo. Take a little break between the heats to spend a little time between the sheets. Back to the track and get on with the show. An 800 horsepower rodeo.
Here comes car number 11. Oh my goodness, as she takes that car to the top shelf, she has made her way to the top 5. She is absolutely flying.
She's up on the wheel with the devil in her eyes and a little dirt on her face. Belted and tied, ready for a fight, wearing outlaw leather and lace. Ever seen an angel in a fire suit? Sexy from her helmet to her nomad's boots. Tearing up the track, sideways in the mud, driving through the balance of love. Next time I saw Jenna, was at a track in Saluda, PA. I said, I'll run your crew if you want me to. She blew a kiss and said, okay. Now we're riding down the road together, and we feel just like a racer's club. Driving in deeper, making time in the sleeper, driving through the balance of love. Ever seen an angel in a fire suit? Sexy from a helmet to a nomad's boots. Tearing up the track, sideways in the mud, driving through the balance of love. Ever seen an angel in a fire suit? Sexy from a helmet to a nomad's boots. Tearing up the track, sideways in the mud, driving through the balance of love. Was at a dirt track in Tennessee. She was up on the cushion, pushing the 11. I was cruising for the 33. Running wide open, school in the bars, flinging mud across the county line. Finding a groove and making a move, she turned a lap in record time. Ever seen an angel in a fire suit? Sexy from a helmet to a nomad's boots. Tearing up the track, sideways in the mud, driving through the balance of love. The boys like to rub her fenders, trying to get her up against the wall. She don't play checkers or records, but she's ready if you want to brawl. Jenna gives the boys white knuckle, cause she likes to dig them on 3 wide. And she don't mind grinding some metal. Yeah, she gets hot when the sparks start to fly. Ever seen an angel in a fire suit? Sexy from a helmet to a nomad's boots. Tearing up the track, sideways in the mud, driving through the balance of love. Take a little break between the heats to spend a little time between the sheets. Back to the track and get on with the show. An 800 horsepower rodeo. Take a little break between the heats to spend a little time between the sheets. Back to the track and get on with the show. An 800 horsepower rodeo.
Here comes car number 11. Oh my goodness, as she takes that car to the top shelf, she has made her way to the top 5. She is absolutely flying.
She's up on the wheel with the devil in her eyes and a little dirt on her face. Belted and tied, ready for a fight, wearing outlaw leather and lace. Ever seen angel in a fighter suit. Sexy from a helmet to a Nomex boots. Tearing up the track, sideways in the mud. Driving through the Badlands of love. Next time I saw Jenna, who's at a track and saluted VA. I said, I'll run the crew if you want me to. She blew a kiss and said, okay. Now we're riding down the road together, and we fit just like a racer's glove. Driving in deeper, making time in the sleeper. Driving through the Badlands of love. Ever seen an angel in a fighter suit? Sexy from a helmet to a Nomex boots. Tearing up the track, sideways in the mud. Driving through the Badlands of love. Ever seen an angel in a fighter suit? Sexy from a helmet to a Nomex boots. Tearing up the track, sideways in the mud. Driving through the Badlands of love. Was at a dirt track in Tennessee. She was up on the cushion, pushing the 11. I was cruising for the 33. Running wide open, school in the bars, bringing mother across the county line. Finding a groove and making a move, she turned a lap in record time. Ever seen an angel in a fighter suit? Sexy from a helmet to a Nomex boots. Tearing up the track, sideways in the mud. Driving through the Badlands of love. The boys like to rub a fenders, trying to get her up against the wall. She don't play checkers and records, but she's ready if you want to brawl. Jenna gives the boys white knuckle, cause she likes to dig them on 3 wide. And she don't mind grinding some metal. Yeah, she gets hot when the sparks start to fly. Ever seen an angel in a fighter suit? Sexy from a helmet to a Nomex boots. Tearing up the track, sideways in the mud. Driving through the Badlands of love. Take a little break between the heats to spend a little time between the sheets. Back to the track and get on with the show. An 800 horsepower rodeo. Between the heats to spend a little time between the sheets. Back to the track and get on with the show. An 800 horsepower rodeo.
Here comes car number 11. Oh my goodness, as she takes that car to the top shelf, she has made her way to the top 5. She is absolutely flying.
She's up on the wheel with the devil in her eyes and a little dirt on her face. Belt in tight, ready for a fight, wearing outlaw leather and lace. Ever seen an angel in a fighter suit? Sexy from a helmet to a Nomex boots. Tearing up the track, sideways in the mud. Driving through the Badlands of love. Next time I saw Jenna, who's at a track and saluted VA. I said, I'll run the crew if you want me to. She blew a kiss and said, okay. Now we're riding down the road together, and we fit just like a racer's glove. Driving in deeper, making time in the sleeper. Driving through the Badlands of love. Ever seen an angel in a fighter suit? Sexy from a helmet to a Nomex boots. Tearing up the track, sideways in the mud. Driving through the Badlands of love. Ever seen an angel in a fighter suit? Sexy from a helmet to a Nomex boots. Tearing up the track, sideways in the mud. Driving through the Badlands of love.
Oh, the Badlands of Love. Do you know the Badlands of Love?
I do.
You do?
I went deep into the Badlands of love.
Come on.
Yeah.
Really? Bing.
With you.
You what?
Went into the Badlands of love with you.
Oh, okay.
My bad boy.
Not to be confused with the bad hands of love.
No. Happy
No.
Tuesday, children of the lawn.
Yes, happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. I continued the Christmas theme.
Yeah, they're
with
liking your lights.
You like the lights?
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, it's just the lights on the tree. That's
Oh, yeah.
that was my pasture the last
You
Friday.
showed me a different one earlier.
I did?
Yeah, it had purple and.
No, that was this. That was this.
And I didn't see the lawn chairs today.
You didn't see the lawn chairs? They were over here.
I did not see them.
Here's the lawn chairs right there.
Do they have Christmas lights?
The lawn. Oh wow, no.
Uh-huh, we got a
Oh, would you guys like Christmas lights on your chairs? Huh? Yeah? I can work that out. I can. I know somebody. I know Santa.
I know him.
Yeah. I know him too. I know him. And he knows me. So what?
What?
I don't know.
You know Santa, and he knows you.
I do know Santa. I tell you what, like I said, I said
Gail
before.
said, sure, we love lights.
Well, okay, I'll get you some lights. No problem.
This is Sanity Claus. Very clever, Sue.
Insanity Claus.
Woo!
Yeah, I used to go see
Sanity Claus.
Santa. I told you at the store in town in White Plains. He used to land in a helicopter. And the thing that was amazing is when everybody left, right? When everybody left the tree, Santa would come from Westchester Airport in his little helicopter, and which was amazing in itself. I mean, you know, never mind Santa, but the pretty cool helicopter. Anyway, he'd get out, he'd light the tree, he'd do some ho ho ho, they'd do whatever they, you know, was their thing. And then everybody would go inside because I think there was some shit going on in there,
Yeah, they're
sale
trying
or
to
something.
sell shit.
Well, yeah, and
What
you
do
could
you
go
think?
sit on Santa's
Lap.
lap.
Yeah.
You can see me want to say it, right? You know that I want to just say it, but
Say
I'm not
what?
gonna because what?
Say what?
They know.
Are you being perverted?
What?
Santa Claus?
You should be ashamed of
Angus
yourself.
says you keep adding more Christmas lights for every show.
Yeah, it's different lights. This is the living room Fibes drum tree, along with some sparkly other shit. Listen, you know, it's Christmas.
That's right, Angus.
I'll tell you, I'm used to Christmas.
He
You
says
know,
he has to find Christmas stuff now.
well, you know, because it's any minute now, Christmas.
Well, calm down,
It's been
Angus.
coming for 6 months. You should probably get some stuff. All right, let's see. What do you want for Christmas? I would like,
What does who want?
what do I want? I want a new roof. I want my check. No, actually, the guy wrote, and he said, you know, thank you, that we'd be done pretty quick.
No gloom.
That's no, hey, somebody just told me we'd be done quickly, and
Oh,
that's,
he wrote back?
yeah.
Okay, well, we don't need to discuss that.
No, we don't.
Gail wants snow. Well, then you know what? You need to get out of Florida.
I know a guy at the bowling alley. Wait a minute. What? Yeah, I'm getting in trouble here tonight. I'm on a wild. I got a wild.
Hair up his ass.
No. We tried that. It was no good.
Ah,
So let me straighten out here a little bit. That's much better. That's now I
you
feel
straighten out.
straighten
I'll
out.
straighten you out.
Yeah, okay. You straighten me out then.
In my towel.
You know what? I'll straighten you out. We for the holidays on eBay, we got some shirts from the collection, you know, ones that were they're not they were all brand new, but maybe one that was on a display or this or that. And the other thing, we said, you know what? Let's put these up and start the auctions at a reasonable 65% off. And so if you go to the eBay store, it's, guess what? Steve Luongo's store. I think it's hyphens between the words. And you'll see wonders of color and fashion and fabric and details. In fact, watch this. Look at them all.
Oh, Santa.
Oh, it's like Christmas. So anyway, yeah, drop by. Oh, what does Santa want for? Oh, check back. Boy, I must have been paying the guys overtime for this. Look at this, big bang. Oh, you get to see the whole collection. Oh, have a safe and happy holiday. I'll wait till the end. It's almost over. Wow.
Very well done.
There you go. Well, thank you very much. Shout out to the art department.
Yeah. Very well done, art department.
Yeah, they're on top of it.
And
So
Gail said, quick, let me get my, I think it's pointy shoes, Pointe shoes. That's some kind of ballet shoes.
oh, it's probably a word.
Okay, and let's not forget, Sue Lacente has an eBay shop. And
That's
it's
right. Oh, yeah.
called Deco, and the number 2, disco. Deco to disco.
Deco like DECO.
DECO.
Okay, just
to
because the
disco.
spelling
You can get
counts.
Deco to disco at her store.
Spelling counts. What is in the store?
I don't know, we'll have to go look.
We don't get
Knowing
to.
Sue.
Now's your chance, Sue.
She
Come on.
had some
What do you
good
got in there?
stuff.
What do you got in there? Oh, you saw it already?
No, but I see things that she posts that she finds, at flea markets and stuff.
Oh.
Let me tell you what people are looking for. And I didn't know this was a thing. You know those aluminum Christmas trees that they had like in the 60s that you put the color wheel in front of? My aunt had one and I hated it.
Aluminum?
Well,
They're
people are
aluminum?
paying hundreds of dollars for these things. They're vintage aluminum trees.
So get yours today. That's some blind data for you.
No, really, I saw that.
I believe you. I do. I believe you. So
Actually, Lynn Fresh
when is
posted that today.
good old Lynn?
Well, wait.
When is
now.
Christmas? When is actually the day of Christmas?
It is on a Sunday.
On a Sunday. So
Wait. Ellie says I don't hear anything. It's not playing.
what's not playing?
I don't know. Is your mic on?
Yeah. Can everybody hear
Oh, yeah,
anything?
no. Okay, I can hear.
Then you're the one with the,
And Sue says yes and no lights. What are you talking about?
What?
Sue has sold many of those aluminum trees. She says buy low, sell high. There you go.
We buy low, they sell high.
Yeah. One of Steve's Facebook friends is looking for one of those.
Who's looking for one of those?
Lynn Fresh.
Oh, Lynn is?
Mhm.
There you go.
So I just looked on Mercari.
Hook a sister up.
And they're going from like $400 up to $1,000. Chris Casone says, Del Clear can hear.
Yeah,
All right, Chris.
oh man, Del Clear in the house. Man, I have some. Oh well. Yeah, Chris, you got to come in on a Friday, man. And it just occurred to me, I was talking about Christmas. Christmas is on a Sunday, so we'll have the Christmas party, the free for all Friday before Christmas, which would be the 23rd. So, Angus, you hear that? You got a little time yet?
That's right.
Yeah. So let's see what else. Well, hey, now Del Clear, if you're in the house, you'll remember these drums. You recorded that kit in the bad old days. So I guess we're waiting on David.
Right.
Okay. I mean, I got to tell you what, I've been doing a lot of interviews for a ton of different outlets. iHeartRadio. I'm supposed to be doing a satellite thing with them tomorrow. And I've got, oh, never mind. Uh-oh, this is scary.
What?
It says,
What? And Del Clear
it
says
says
time? Question mark.
time what?
I don't know.
Time. Oh, 7 with
With iHeartRadio?
no. Oh, the time for that. No.
So it's
why
tomorrow
am I
from
seeing this?
10:30 to
Hang on, there's
11:30.
oh, look who's here.
Eastern time.
Hey Debbie, how are you?
Oh, nice. Logged in under the wife's name.
That's it. Listen, whatever works. I thought it might be an old girlfriend coming to get me, but I'm okay. We're good. What time on Friday?
7 o'clock.
7 to 8, regular
7
time.
to 8.
Chris.
We're sorry about that, David.
Sorry, Dave, man. Welcome. How are you?
Thank you. Great, Steve. Nice to meet you.
Good to meet you. So where in the world are you? I think your system.
I'm in Ridge, Deep Suffolk.
Oh, Deep Suffolk.
Deep Suffolk County. Way out in
Oh.
Ridge.
Oh, okay, that's cool. That's always from that part of the world.
No, originally from Levittown.
Oh, okay. Well, but still, Long
Home of
Island.
Speaks.
Long Island, yeah,
Yes.
speak.
A Long Islander, yes.
That's all right. That's we are honorary Long Islanders, I guess. We lived out there for a little while. But so what's music for you now, man? I mean, this is a crazy ass time. We'll get rid of the distraction.
It is. Things are going very well, thanks. I'm playing full-time with a band on Long Island called the Legendary Murphys. They've been around about 20 years now.
Oh wow,
Cool.
that's a while.
Get to play all the beach huts and some of the really nice clubs on Long Island.
What kind of band is the Legendary Murphys?
It's classic rock, or what we would know as rock.
Exactly right. When did it get? And are oldies still oldies? I don't know how they come up with these categories. Somehow,
If you listen to CBS FM, you'll find out just how old it is. Yeah.
well, yeah. There's no danger of that happening anytime soon. But I get the point. So, what's the playlist like?
It's a lot of Southern rock. So you got your mixer, Neil Young, but then you have Leonard Skinner, and then they'll throw in something like, a pop tune like 867-5309, just to keep them going.
Yeah, no, you gotta. It's interesting. I wonder, what the playlist is these days. It's because what I see, that I guess we've both seen the business go through a couple of changes, but now the show acts, the tribute acts are like, it's so big and legit now. It's wild. So to be able to play a variety of music like the Legendary Murphys, that's pretty cool.
It is. It's very cool because I've had the privilege of playing with a couple of the tribute bands recently as well. Liverpool Shuffle, obviously all Beatles, and Street Fighter, all Stones. And to do this now, it's opened up a whole different vocabulary.
That's cool. And so, yeah, classic rock. Are you now? You named a lot of Southern rock. Any prog rock or any,
No prog rock. I get to do that if I'm able to sit in with Wondrous Stories. I know you've
Ah,
spoken with Tommy Williams at length. So
Obviously,
when
one
I
or two times.
yeah. Oh, that's my wife and producer Lori. She
Hi
said Tommy's
Lori.
been on a few
Yeah,
times.
Tommy has.
He has been on a few times.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah,
Yeah, great.
we like Tommy a lot.
Yeah. So, what interesting story can you tell me about Tommy Williams?
Well, none that that the statute of limitations haven't run out on yet, but
Ah, okay. All right. So,
I got no, all good things to say about Tommy.
yeah,
Um,
no, he's a great guy. I'm happy to
he's,
know him.
he's the most laid back music director I've ever worked with. If you're playing something wrong, he'll just look in your direction with a smile and mouth the correct chord. Doesn't get upset, just looks at you and goes, C sharp.
Ah, that's nice. So when you play with him, it's in Wondrous Stories.
Yes.
No, that's good. What's he doing now, Tommy?
He's still playing with Wondrous Stories. He's also out on tour with the Hitmen.
Oh, that's right. I had heard about that. Now, wow, that's
He and
Tommy.
Greg Smith and yeah.
Yeah, man, Greg is always out there. Greg's been on the show. He's a great guy.
Absolutely.
So, well, interesting. When did you catch the music thing?
Just like everybody else, when the Beatles played on Ed Sullivan, my mom was a huge Beatles fan, so she bought all the albums, had the Everly Brothers, Johnny Cash, kind of great music going on in the house, had the transistor radio going in every room, WABC, WMCA, even when WINS was all music. So that's my upbringing, just hearing the music in the house all the time. And then in fourth grade, I wanted to be Ringo, so I started as a drummer. But you have nothing to worry about.
I have nothing to worry about. I have plenty to worry about. I just don't worry about it. So when did you make the transition to bass?
When I met my lifelong friend in seventh grade, and he was better than me on drums, I said, okay. So I learned guitar, and we put a Alice Cooper band together in the early 70s because that's where we were at. And shortly after that, he just turned to me one day and said, "There's a lot of guitar players, but you should play bass." He talked me into it, Don Davidson.
Well, let me ask you a question. Because when I was coming up playing drums, if somebody was better than me, it pissed me off, and they had to be destroyed. So were you? And now this is just us talking,
Yeah.
Although we're broadcasting to Switzerland for the first time tonight. Would you say you were a good drummer? I mean, did you feel it? Did you enjoy it? Was it fun?
Oh, I wasn't very much on the drum set. I was more of a, percussionist in the band and the orchestra type thing. So when it came to play, and also I was left-handed on the kit, so that was always a challenge. But I wasn't like Ringo. I did play some right-handed drum kit, but I wasn't very good at it. So I knew it was time to move on.
Well, okay. I mean, I can understand how, there's two schools of thought. If you're a lefty in a right-handed world, it's tough to, really get, I can imagine physically on a set of drums set up a quote the wrong way would be challenging. But by the same token, that's Billy Cobham. Billy Cobham plays lefty on a righty set. And, and because he did that, he created that whole style because it's the way he hits and the whole thing and the way he voices his fills. But that's how he's able to do those polyrhythmic, cool things at a good speed because he's amazing. He's amazing. So, yeah.
And Ringo, same thing. And Paul too, actually.
What's that? Say again. I'm sorry.
Ringo as well. Lefty on a righty kit. And then I just watching the Let It Be movie, I didn't know Paul was a lefty on a righty kit as well.
Oh, well, yeah, that's true. and it's, I would imagine that that would make you very unique and individual, you know, your own player. To come up in an unconventional way, I think is a blessing, but it's just, you know, whatever you make of it. So which way do you play bass, lefty or righty?
I'm actually righty. I'm all confused. I throw left-handed, but I bat right-handed.
Well, I'm not a lefty, but I play my, because I play double kicks.
Uh,
I play my kicks backwards. When I'm playing double kicks, instead of leading with my right kick drum, I lead with my left kick drum. So if I'm doing a, you know, for a quadruplet, bat that doom doom. Instead of going right, left, I go right, left, right. So my sticking, as they call it, is lefty on the bottom and righty on the top. And I have no idea how that, I remember it happening because I remember wanting to do those big flurry rolls. And so I was always into double bass drums. I really wanted to be able to do those cool kind of fast things. And it just, you know, it was always fun for me. But I could feel it, you know, and I don't know, I guess you can feel the bass better righty than lefty. I couldn't feel the kick drums righty. I was trying to do it the way it was being shown to me, and I couldn't do it that way. And then all of a sudden it just naturally reversed on the bottom, and I'm hearing it and it sounds right, but I'm not executing it right. But guess what? I don't care. And so I developed a whole like a quiver of moves based on that little weird thing that I do.
Absolutely. If it whatever works, it's the way to go. You can only fight it so much, and then you realize it works better another way. You go with it.
And you know, that's exactly, you know, now that, because I haven't even thought about that struggle to make something happen in decades, but you're right. You're fighting it, and that's what I remember about the quadruplets on the snare or whatever on two bass drums. I was fighting it, trying to do right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. It just didn't want to happen. It wasn't smooth. It didn't feel right. I was fighting it. And then I started so hard that like I said, I think my stroke reversed, and I'm starting to do it. Now all of a sudden I'm hearing what I'm supposed to be hearing. And it took me a while to recognize that that's what I was doing. It was like, I'd always start with a pickup beat, and it was, you know, it became whatever, became my dysfunction.
Excellent. But so, like I said, it was guitar and then bass, and fortuitously, Quadrophenia came out around the same time as I was beginning to learn bass. So it's 49 years later, and I'm still working on Quadrophenia, but I'll get there.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, that's yeah, there's some, it's funny, there's some pretty good bass on that record.
Pretty good, yeah.
You know, and it's, I guess for me, you know, listening to that stuff and having played it, was we played all that stuff when we were kids playing the clubs on Long Island. You almost take, when you're listening to the song, you almost take Entwistle for granted because it's so much going on there. It's not quite drums and it's not quite guitar, but it's just as valuable as either or both. And it really knits things together. When I finally started playing with them, I already had that vision, you know, that sight of, you know, what's this going to be like. I kind of knew what it was going to be like because we used to do it. And, you know, it's an interesting thing. He changed everything.
Oh, no, absolutely. And the way they worked together, it didn't sound like four guys playing their own thing. Even though they're playing ridiculously complex things, it all fit together.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's funny because John used to say that Keith would play with John and he would play with Pete, or he'd play off Roger. And, you know, he always, because he wasn't playing the same thing all the time, you didn't have to play this, or he didn't have to play the same thing all the time. And that's what I enjoyed, you know, going back to Live at Leeds. That's the stuff that, you know, haphazard, what are we going to do now? Oh, here we go. Let's do this. Jamming. It's, you know, it's the most, uh, it's like loud jazz, you know?
that was a question I had for you.
Sure.
When you did you know, I forget how this came to be. I just remember hearing it on the radio. The Rat Race Choir was playing with John Entwistle. I was like, wow, this is great. Now, did you know much in advance that was going to happen, and how did you prepare for it?
Well, by the time you heard about it on the radio in New York, that was months after we had played together. We were introduced at a NAMM show. I asked him if he wanted to jam. He said anytime. I found out who was throwing the biggest jam of the whole NAMM show and told him I'm playing with John Entwistle. We want to jam. And we played that night at the Vic Theater in Chicago and blew the place away because I'm playing with my band doing arrangements of Who songs that we know cold in our sleep. And our bass player is also singing the song. So John played bass. So that was in June of '87. That was the end of June, 1987. And then we became friends. John and I became friends. We just kept communicating. We enjoyed playing together. It was, you know, and we had similar needs and drives with regard to the music we were going to play and what was going on in our careers at the time and so on. And when I was leaving the green room after the show, he handed me his phone number and said, stay in touch. And so I did. And it wasn't really, you know, it's not like I thought I was going to be the drummer in the Who or anything like that. That wasn't even, you know, the Who wasn't even an issue in '87. It's just John and I talking music. And he was a hysterical guy. So he used to tell a lot of jokes and a lot of stories. And, you know, he'd sometimes stay up late, get a little drunk, call me up, and we'd start talking till 3 o'clock in the morning, my time. And he's 5 hours ahead in England. But it was a friendship that developed over, let's see, July, August. I think it was, yeah, over the summer, just talking, you know, and faxing back and forth. That was a lot of fun drawing because he was an artist and he used to draw like funny cartoons. And then the Kramer jam, which is what the jam we did in Chicago, they called me up and said, you know, would John Entwistle play at the K Rock and Roll Up Your Sleeve blood drive at the Bottom Line to be broadcast live? And of course I said, yeah, sure. He would. I called him up and asked him if he would do it. And he said, yeah. And I said, we're going to need to rehearse. They're going to give us a place to rehearse. So we were down in South Jersey for like 5 days on a ranch rehearsing. And then we came back to New York to do the blood drive, which was on the Sunday. And we did 2 warm-up gigs in Poughkeepsie at the Chance the Friday and Saturday before the blood drive. And, you know, in the run up to that, in the month, that was November. So in the months up to that, I said, you know, what, you want to add a couple of more dates? You're going to be here. We'll have the gear. We'll have this and that. I'll get a bus, blah, blah, blah. And the funny thing about it is I never realized how, it's not that I never realized it, but it never came into my mind how dangerous it is to be a celebrity. I mean, you know, a bona fide, holy shit, TV watching, camera clicking celebrity. It's freaking dangerous. And here's John Entwistle, the absolute premier bassist in the world. And he's hanging out with me and letting me make all these arrangements. I mean, I remember when Laurie and I were down in New Jersey after the rehearsal, we were going back to the city to do the Howard Stern show on a Friday. And he's passed out he's just asleep in the limousine, and I looked over at him, and I looked at Laura, and I said, "That's John Entwistle," and it was a trust thing, man. You know, I never realized how vulnerable he was, especially John. He was, you know, there was nobody, unless they were out on tour or, you know, something, you know, there was some function, there was nobody looking out for John. There was nobody hanging out with him. And, you know, it wasn't that way. So it was, you know, I mean, that's how it started. And then, so we did the tour with Rat Race, the one that you heard about. I think we played, I was just talking about this the other night. We played the Sundown, Frank Cariola's.
Yes. Sure.
Yeah, that was like our first, or was that 88?
I don't remember.
I don't know. The Rat Race Choir thing, though, was 87, November 87. We played into December, and then that was it. And the following year, he asked me to, you know, partner up with him to try to do something with the band that he had put together in 85. And one thing led to another. You know, it was just a matter of getting along musically and just casually. You know, the Who and the Who never got in the way of anything, if you know what I mean. It was never like, you know, I was used to playing with great players. So to play with, you know.
I remember one of the comments he made after you were playing with him was that he was so impressed that you even learned the mistakes on Live at Leeds.
That's right. That's right. Well, you know, the funny thing about that was, and I mean, think about this. I was probably I think John was in his 40s, early 40s, and I was in my mid 30s. And here we are in Chicago. Neither one of us are from Chicago. I mean, I'm sure he knew the city better than me because they played there all the time. And I just called him up and said, I got a place for us to jam. And he said, all right, well, okay. And Kramer sent a car for me. I went to pick him up. He gets in the car and he says, what are we going to play? And I said, we'll play some Who songs. He said, I don't know any. So I said, we'll teach them to you. And that's exactly what happened. This was the Rat Race with Jack Hotop playing keyboards and Mark and Dave. And that's exactly what happened. We're down in the dressing room, and I got a pair of sticks, and I'm playing on a soft case, like a guitar case or something, with nothing in it. And those guys are playing. Mark's playing the guitar, but not plugged into anything. And that's when he said, you guys even learned the mistakes, because we were going over the Live at Leeds stuff. I mean, you know, is it a mistake if it happens every time you play the record? I don't know.
Right. And I guess going on, you made the songs your own, and that's amazing.
Yeah, we did, but and it's interesting because I heard Mark Hitt say once that people would tell him or tell us that we sounded like whatever band we were playing, if, you know, Jethro Tull or the Who or whatever. And the truth is that we weren't aping what they did. We were actually just playing it the way we would play as if we owned it. And it evolved over time. So when we started playing, you know, with John, we did that first tour, and then I, you know, did the rest of the time with him. It was interesting, you know, to see how those things changed over time and how he changed them over time. Because, I mean, remember, we're learning a set list off a record from whatever it was, 19, who knows what, and how many different versions and set lists in the next 30 or 40 years do you think he did? Well, wouldn't be, well, you know, 20 some odd years, how many, you know, changes went to those arrangements. So, and it was fun though. It was like lighthearted. He wasn't, you know, you didn't get the feeling that, you know, you guys better not screw this up. I mean, he didn't even know what we were going to do, much less where we were going to do it or who we were going to do it in front of. I mean, we could have, we could have embarrassed the hell out of him. But
Sure. No, he wasn't a taskmaster. That's great. He just let you play his songs, and that's the way it should be. Just play the songs.
well, and that's the way it was. That's the way it always was. And it was always, but it was don't always play the songs the same way. That's, you play the same song the same way every night, that you become numb to it. But if you're having a conversation, right, and I talk about this all the time, if you're having a conversation with a bass player, and you're a bass player, if we're playing together and we're in a groove and it's just you and me or whatever, maybe it's a trio, maybe it's whatever, I'm going to listen to what you're playing and I'm going to play either against or on top of what you're playing in hopes of making you hear that and build on top of that. And that's what playing with John and Rat Race too always was. That's, I mean, to have that once is, it's a blessing. To have it twice is, it's unbelievable. So to be able to have that language going on, and I'll tell you an interesting thing. We just released a rarities album of John and stuff that we did together in the band and stuff that we did.
You exhumed it, yes.
Yes, exhumed, exactly right. We exhumed, very good. We exhumed the tracks. And there's a track on there we did Shaking All Over. We did it, speaking of wondrous stories, with Chris Clark on keyboards. But in this particular version of the song, we never opened it with a guitar solo. Once in a while, if John wanted to smoke a cigarette at the beginning of Young Man Blues, he'd tell Godfrey to take a solo or whatever. But this was New York. It was the last night of this particular leg of the tour. And, hometown crowd. So we said, let him go. And he's playing a little too long for John, right? John looks over at me and like, so, and I went like this, and we both start rumbling up underneath him, and until it becomes so loud that he realizes what we're doing, and I hit the stinger, and that's the end of the solo. You would think, if somebody said to me, I was doing an interview, and somebody said to me, it sounds like you guys did that every night. I said, we never did it before or since, and so that's what made it so cool, that being able to, they asked Eric Clapton, what's it like to be the greatest guitar player in the world or whatever. He said, it's very lonely because there's no one to talk to. And, you take that any way you want. It's, when I have a drummer on the show, we start getting off on the drummer shit. It's, it's crazy. Do you find that in the whole, in the whole music scene, do you find that it's, that the past couple of years have put a damper on you being able to, interchange or interface with players?
No, I'm lucky. I mean, obviously I have, Ringo behind me in some situations and Charlie Watts and others, but it's not completely note for note. But with the legendary Murphys, have a lot of opportunity to get something going with the drummer, and that's what makes it the most fun. Because you sit there and play the same thing every night, you lose your mind.
Yeah.
So once you learn the drummers, you can sense it. You know how it is. You can sense what they're going to do, and you both do it at the same time, and it's a great thing.
That's if you don't have that, you're just. For me, that's the center of everything. Having that unspoken language, that that ability to turn on a dime, and and the thing about somebody thinks the way someone thinks about time, about a measure, the way they approach the bar line, and I don't want to geek out for the listeners. Hi, Sweden. But it's when you find one, when everybody finds one in the same place, nothing is more powerful than that. And the longer that you play with guys, the one gets tighter. If it's as tight as it can be, then you're just in the perfect band. But if you play with somebody for years and years, and you keep playing with them, it's because the one is right there. Boom, boom. You know, because when it hits, it hits. It's the difference between a high school band or a marching band, you know, at a college. So that kind of timing and that kind of, you know, the way you feel the music, if you've got other people that feel it the same way you do, that's, man, doesn't really get better than that.
It's even more interesting when you have a drummer that doesn't always land on the one exactly when it should be, but you can sense that and you wait and you still coming together on the one. It's this much of a difference.
Sure.
But but as long as you both hit the one, everything's fine. If you go, bam, it's like, oh.
Yeah, no. I believe me. And that, yeah, it's, I understand that. And it's good that you're obviously listening, because that means that, you know, if this is something that he does, you know, and it's just whatever, you know, it's the way he takes that breath or whatever, the way he says that sentence, and you can read that, that's pretty cool. You know,
That's the fun part of playing live. Absolutely.
does it go the other way around? Can he read you the same way, or does he?
He does, because I don't take too many chances, even though I'm a net whistle kind of guy. I with this type of music, I try to stay in the pocket as much as I can, because I sneak my riffs in. I get the guitar player turn around, look at me like, what was that? But it's all in good fun. It's not, you know, it's not like, whoa, would you knock that off? You know.
And what's your rig? What's the rig for you?
It's usually a Fender Precision, of course, with Rotosound strings.
RS66?
Of course. And also I have a Fender Telecaster bass.
A plank bass, like the one with the what do they call it?
It's the 51 Precision, yeah.
I've seen that, the real thing, the
Yeah.
old plank bass. John had, it was ridiculous what he had, but the things that was one of the things that he was most proud of. I mean, he had all kinds of stuff. He had the Framus that Bill Wyman played, and I mean, he had all kinds of stuff. But that 51 or whatever it was, the first run of them, it was unbelievable. I mean, it had that neck, that like Telecaster kind of thing. That's the one with the
Baseball
Telecaster
bat.
headstock. Oh man,
Come on.
and he loved that thing. I think his was white with a black scratch word. Hey, bud.
Mine is 68 Telecaster, so it's like the first reissue Fender did, I guess.
Yeah, wow, that's cool.
It just has a sound that can't be beat. String through the body and single pole pickups, and
Yeah,
it really sings.
oh, that's cool, man. And what did you say the rig was again?
Well, I'm using a Mesa Boogie TT 800. So that's got the tubes in it. And when I want to add an amp whistle, I have some Tech 21 pedals.
Sans amp.
Good old Lloyd Schwartz was nice enough to dial some amp whistle in there for us.
I love Lloyd. I mean, I think he's gone, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes, he is. Yes.
Yeah, he was great. We used to hang with Lloyd at the NAMM shows all the time, and Lloyd sent me a PSA 1 because John and I were trying. It was, you know, the 90s, and we were trying to build identical studios to send MIDI tracks, because we couldn't send anything else back and forth. So, you know, we wanted to have the same. When I sent him a drum track, he put it through the same module that I was using, a D4 or whatever. And Lloyd got him the Sans amp for his stuff, and he sent it to me, and it was great time getting all that gear, and it was a lot of fun. And that was I still use that in Pro Tools. I have their plugin, the Tech 21 plugin. I love it.
It's great. You can dial it up in a heartbeat. One time I was just warming up, and Tommy Williams did a what? Because I went the bang, 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 bang. The first 4 notes of Live at Leeds when they come on stage. It just nails that sound.
Wow. That's you know what? I hope I get to hear it, man. I do hope I get to hear it.
Absolutely.
So where are you guys playing? Is it all just Long Island, or is there recording or?
This is yeah, performing Long Island, like I said, playing all the beach huts in the summer. So that's just amazing fun, playing Jones Beach and all the other beaches. And then there's some really nice clubs on the island we're playing right now. It's I'm having a great ride.
Is there's still a scene at this time of year out there?
Yeah. Yeah, we just had a big crowd Saturday night at the club in Amityville called the Warehouse.
I'm glad to hear that, man, because I tell you, I remember, I mean, you must remember the scene, the mid '70s when, when
Oh,
big clubs, what's that?
I was a little foggy on those days, but
Yeah, well, I'm sure you heard about it. Yeah, if you remember, you weren't really there.
exactly.
But, that whole scene, I get asked a lot about, that scene. I actually did an interview the other day about the Long Island music scene of the '70s. And it really was such a perfect moment in time to do what everybody was doing back then. It was like a wide open territory that was just waiting to be changed. And it went from, an Irish pub with a guy, in the corner with a guitar and maybe a drummer and a bass player set up on the floor to, here comes, holy shit, what is this? And everybody started buying gear, and, it turned into concert rock in nightclubs. It was like going to a concert. It was just an amazing.
It's coming back. Obviously, the last couple of years are very difficult for everybody, but it's coming back strong.
And so what's the crowd like? My thing was, the people that came to see us, they're not going out every night anymore, I don't think. I mean, maybe one of them is, but I don't know how much longer he's going to be able to do that. But, are they, I mean, you remember 6 nights a week, man. If you were playing on a Monday, then you were really hot. And I remember doing 22 gigs in 21 days. And I can't see it. Look, I hope it does come back like that. That would be awesome.
Okay, well,
But
Roger Chaffee
yes, Roger
says
Chaffee.
the legendary Murphys have a pretty good following, and Roger lives on Long Island. So
Oh, there you go.
there you go.
See that?
Great band. They're wonderful people too.
And so, what's the instrumentation?
It's Tom and Sandy, husband and wife. She plays keyboards, he plays guitar. Lead guitarist Mike Barbarick and Mike Ratty on drums, and some noisy guy on bass.
Okay, now you got to take the props. And do you do any Who songs?
We do, yes. Surprising. They actually did them before I joined the band because they did a couple of dates with Simon Townsend.
Wow.
So they learned Squeeze Box and I don't know, Can't Explain. So
Oh, that's great, man.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's fun. Simon's a good guy. We used to see him play down at the, between
Arlene's
tours,
Grocery. Yeah.
Arlene's Grocery or the Red Lion in New York. It was, he's a good guy. It's been a while, but he's a good guy.
At the meeting, yeah.
Sorry. So do you have a favorite Who song to play?
It would probably be my wife, just because I get to sing as well, and that's quite a range vocally on that song. And I'll sneak a little solo in during the horn part and all that. But it's just a great driving song with it's just a blast to play.
Well,
Time for the questions.
do you know? Have you heard Oxzoomed, or do you just know about it? Because I'll tell you something interesting if you don't have it already.
I don't have it yet, no, but I'm familiar with it.
Okay, well, on the album there's a song called Left for Dead. And we used an alternate version of the song in a show that we did, TV show that we did. But on this version, Left for Dead, it's a full version, and it's got a verse about a spy, a verse about a cowboy, and a verse and a romantic verse. And after the spy verse, we play a couple of bars of the James Bond theme. After the cowboy verse, we play a couple of bars of the Magnificent Seven. And after the romantic verse, we run out with my wife, the run out. And we're having so much fun playing it in the studio that we just kept playing. And John's playing. So, when you get to hear it, that's why we did that. And we played it much longer than we needed to because we just faded out. But it was fun. So I left the whole run out, and you can hear John detunes his hip shot at the end of it, and it just kind of falls apart. Funny.
No, that's great.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Now, did you get all the rules of the road from Angus? Did he tell you about Free for All Friday?
He did.
He did. Okay, good. Because you're invited anytime. You can pop in for 5 minutes from the dressing room, from the living room, and say hello. You can stay for the whole hour or whatever. It's just lighthearted, and it's a room full of, people that you probably know, some of them, and so on and so forth. And now I'm sure he gave you the questions.
We have questions, yes.
Yeah.
I might have answers.
You do have it. Okay, good. Then this should be relatively painless because it never fails that I do the questions to kind of bring the thing to a completion and, welcome to the family and all that shit. And you can come in on Friday, but it rounds things out. And it's always interesting for me to hear the answers because it gives me an insight to whoever, my friend of the evening is. So the first one, and it doesn't matter, it's about the road. When I put the questions together, I wanted to, do something that would evoke memories of, one thing or another. And certainly didn't want to rip off James Lipton at the Actors Studio, but, had to do it. So the first question, and it's the road, and it can be any road, right? It doesn't have to be Europe or Iceland. It can be Long Island or wherever, but you're traveling on the road from a gig to a gig for a gig. And when you go through that special place, favorite restaurant to eat on the road, on the road?
I guess it depends on what decade it was. In the 70s, you'd go to a White Castle or Jack in the Box.
Oh, okay. Very good.
In the 80s, you'd be playing gigs in Manhattan. You'd had to go to Kiev.
Oh, really? Okay. No wool hop for you?
No, Kiev with the beef barley soup. Absolutely.
Nice. Okay.
Kiev in Manhattan.
And nowadays, I guess the age and tastes have changed. You'd be just going to an Applebee's on Route 110 or something.
Yeah, listen, nothing wrong with that, man. It's consistent. And, I've been to Applebee's a few times. Good. Okay. Next question. This is going to be good. I know you're going to have good answers for this. The set list comes out. There it is. Your favorite song to play live. What's that song?
Well, like I said, my wife, The Real Me, duh. Certainly love to see that one. Won't Get Fooled Again because it's Won't Get Fooled Again.
That was John's favorite, by the way.
Yeah, it's just nonstop fun. Absolutely. And then a song we did in our first band, right after the Alice Cooper band, we did a song, one of John's songs, Roller Skate Kate.
Oh man, after John passed, I put together a solo project, and we were doing a fundraiser, and I said we should learn some of that because we never played any of the stuff from Whistle Rhymes or any of those. We never did any of that stuff. The only thing that we did that came close was we did a bit of Nightmare in a song that we wrote for the TV show Horror Rock. But I've played that song, and I'll have to share some of this stuff with you. It's you'll enjoy it. It was fun. Roller Skate Kate and Peg Leg Peggy, and it was great. Those songs were fun to play. So yeah, good one. Good.
Yeah.
Okay. Any John song.
Yeah, I get that. I I can't wait to see what you think of the new record, because there's John songs on there that I don't think you've ever heard before.
Yeah, I will let you know.
Yeah, no, you should let me know. Come in,
Yeah.
come in on a Friday or email me or whatever. I'll send you some fun videos to watch. It's there's some good stuff out there. Okay, so now set list comes out. There it is. Don't ever want to play this song again. I'm sick of this song. Do not want to play this song. What is that song?
Muskrat Love.
Muskrat Love.
Muskrat
That's not the first time we had. Didn't we have a muskrat?
No, I don't remember any Muskrat Loves. Nope.
Really?
There's a story behind it.
Okay. Well,
Is it a wedding?
go ahead.
Play that at
Yeah, where do you
weddings?
play Muskrat Love? Where is that popular?
I was in a very good top 40 band upstate in the summer of '79. And we played, actually it was fall by then. And one evening we were playing a frat party, it's college. And I just said, I'm not going to drink tonight. I'm just going to have some of the fruit punch. So I had 3 fruit punches. And then I suddenly go, why are we playing this song? This is in the 4th set. And I realized it was the 4th set. I didn't know that there was grain alcohol in the fruit punch.
Oh,
So I'll
okay.
leave out all the other details. The next day we had 2 jobs, a wedding in the afternoon and then a gig in a bar. So at the wedding, I had to sit in a chair. And the bride and the groom loved Muskrat Love.
Oh,
So in the condition I was in, we had to play it twice.
oh man, that's not good.
Muskrat Love.
I mean, I'll give you a tip. The next time you have to sit down, bandage your foot.
It looks like, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Tricks of the trade.
I like
Doesn't
that.
work for drummers though, but you can use that anytime. And all right, so 2 questions left, and you're off the hook, unscathed, not bleeding, no scars. Now you've already told me that you play drums and guitar and bass, so those are all out. But if you could play any other instrument in the world, glockenspiel, temple bells, orchestra chimes, and shred at it, what instrument would it be?
Flute.
Flute.
Flute. Ooh. I don't think we've had anyone
Okay,
say
no-
flute. Or Muskrat Love.
play
Well-
Muskrat Love on the flute. Yeah.
That's it. Muskrat Flute Love.
Oh,
That sounds not right.
man, that sounds.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that sounds totally wrong. Oh, flute. Yeah, that would be cool. Have you ever tried to play flute?
I can, keep out a couple of notes, but this whole idea was just too foreign to me.
Yeah, man. I don't.
I'm used to playing stringed instruments,
Yeah, where all the notes are in the same place. But this whole thing, I mean, think about trumpet guys, man. They only have 3 valves, yet they're playing, a dozen notes, right? It's like, anyway.
Yeah, I don't know how they do that.
But I don't know how they do it either. Okay, and here's the big one. And thank you for being here, man. It was really a good time
Yeah.
talking to you. And I really do hope that we get to throw down a little bit. It'd be fun to, to do a little end whistle journey with you. That would be fun.
Absolutely, Steve. Thank you.
No, man, no, anytime. So this is the big one now. If you could play one gig with anybody or any combination of guys, living or dead, who would it be?
Not too hard to imagine would be the Who.
That's
Yeah.
okay.
Good.
I just saw them recently and they still got it.
And had you seen them a lot back did you see them with Moon?
I saw Moon 3 times.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Where was that? Had to be
At the
Forest Hills.
The Garden, 74 and 76.
Oh, wow.
So you know.
I have the hearing loss to prove it. So
Well, let me tell you what it's like to sit next to that. It's a very interesting sound to hear coming off your off your starboard side. Yeah, that's great. I mean, so I'm glad that you enjoyed it. Did you see it with the orchestra this time? Is that what it was?
yes, yeah, it was good. Zach is great.
Yep.
Roger's in fine voice. So it was a pleasure.
That's great. And Zach, I'll tell you what, just to put a cap on it, of course, I get asked the question about the Who and playing drums and the whole thing, and Zach, in my opinion, is probably the only guy that could get that gig and keep it for all the right reasons. He's exactly, if Moon had lived, right, and had transitioned into a player, the way, instead of being a madman and getting sloppier, if he had gotten his shit together I think he would have gone very much in that direction, and I really don't think there's anybody, because if I was in the band, I would expect to do it the way we did it with Entwistle, which was, totally balls to the wall. And that's not what that band is. That's what John's part of it was. You know what I mean? But Zach is the perfect guy for that chair. And I'm glad that you're still digging it. That counts, man.
No, absolutely. The other guy I want to play with, you've played with, is Todd Rundgren.
Oh, Todd, man. Yeah. He's, I tell you the thing about Todd, he's a great player and he's a great vocalist and he's a great showman, but he's a lot of fun on the road. He's the guy that you want to hang with because he's a good time. I mean, he really is, he kind of dances his way through. He's like a giant pixie. He is great. So, listen, here's what this is my gift to you, and we'll end it on the high note. So it's a gig with the Who and Todd Rundgren, and you get to play flute.
Whoa.
Better start practicing.
There you go. Well, I think you've got a little time. Hey, man, it was great talking to you, bro. I'm glad to meet you and glad to know you. And, if you never know where it's coming from, but I'll see you out there and maybe we'll get a chance to throw down.
Appreciate it, Steve. Very much.
I will drop back in on us on a week, on a Friday night. You're welcome anytime, and we will connect again.
Thanks, man. Take care.
All right. Take care.
Bye, Dave.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Lori.
That was a lot of fun.
David Clark.
Yeah, David Clark. Excellent.
And
So,
legendary Murphys.
yeah, and apparently they've
got quite a following.
Well, that,
Long Island.
it sounds like they've been together and have that chemistry thing that I'm always talking about.
Yeah.
So that's what it takes,
Yeah.
It sounds like it from the way Dave was talking about him interacting with the drummer.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go.
Okay,
So,
well,
yeah,
the
now
children
what?
thought it was a great show, fun show.
Thank
so
you, children. Thank
come
you.
tomorrow night, because we're going to be wilding on Wednesday.
Oh, we're wilding on Wednesday. Yes, we are. And if I don't see you in the future, I'll see you in the pasture.
Good night, everybody.
Bye-bye, kids.